Hey folks, hope you're doing well today. Say, you know what? I'm not doing so good today, and I'll tell you why. I'm having a gout attack. You see that knee? Let me show you my knees.
Sexy
Let me show you my big, beautiful
alert.
knees. See how swollen that sucker is compared to that? Yeah, not good. So, anyways, sorry, got to put the camera back. I wanted to do a couple series on aging and gout attacks, some of the complications that come with aging. I've had carpal tunnels. I want to do another video on carpal tunnel, my journey with that. But today I'm going to be going to the doctor in a little bit. And I kind of wanted to do a before and after with my knees. I'm going to have this sucker drained and I'm going to have a cortisone shot. And then after that, I'm going to come back and give you my journey with gout and what I've learned from it. Maybe give you some wisdom, glean some wisdom from me, from frostbite, on what to do about gout, what to do about carpal tunnel. That'll come later. And maybe some other injuries like shoulder dislocations. That's always fun when you're riding. Yep. All right. We'll see you in a bit when I come back. And this sucker should be smaller and a lot less painful. Okay, so I'm back from the doctor and I'm pretty frustrated. But before I tell you why I'm frustrated, I just want to say that I am not here to give out any medical advice. I am no medical expert at all. I'm just here to relay my experience with gout and to try and maybe give you some hints and tricks, what you can do about gout and how to prevent it. Because it can be very debilitating. That's a big word. Anyways, for those of you that don't know what gout is, let me give you the Mayo Clinic definition of gout. Basically, gout is a common and complex form of arthritis that can affect anyone. So I assume that means any age. But I think it more than likely hits us older folks. It's characterized by sudden severe attacks of pain, true, swelling, redness, and tenderness in one or more joints, most often the big toe, also true. An attack of gout can occur suddenly, often waking you up in the middle of the night. And the reason behind that, this deals with uric acid, and uric acid has its highest buildup while you're sleeping. With the sensation that your big toe is on fire. Not only big toe, it can be ankle, it can be your knees. Yeah. The affected joint is hot, swollen, and so tender that even the weight of the bed sheet on it may seem intolerable. Also true. I mean, honestly, like with a big toe, you ain't even putting your socks on, man. It's just not happening. So let me give you what causes the gout, because that's just an overview. There are certain foods that have what's in them called purines. It kind of sounds like dog food or cat food, you know, Purina. But purines are nitrogen-containing compounds, whatever that means, found in many foods. When purines are broken down in the body, they produce uric acid. Gout is a form of arthritis that occurs when uric acid levels in the blood become too high, causing crystals to form in the joints. Foods that are high in purines include organ meats, seafood, shellfish, sardines, anchovies, organ meats, liver, kidney, red meat, beef, lamb, game meats, venison, alcohol, sugary drinks, and a few others. Okay, so there's the basic overview and kind of the definition of gout. Okay, so I went to the doctor today expecting to get a cortisone shot and having my knee drained. I don't know if you can see, but it's just as swollen now as it was earlier. And what I want to do is I'm going to begin to give you my history with gout and my frustration with the medical community, misdiagnosis, that kind of thing. And we'll get to this in a second. So my first occurrence with gout was probably, it was in 2016, I believe. 2016 or 2017, 2016. And it was in my big toe. At the time, I didn't know it was gout. Had no idea. I thought I had broken my toe, and it was a work-related incident. So I went to the workman's comp doctor, and he said, sure enough, you broke your big toe. And this was a workman's comp doctor. And I thought, okay, well, what do I do? Well, with a big toe or a broken toe, if you've ever broken one, you know, not much you can do. You just suffer through it. I mean, they can't splint it. They can maybe, I don't even know if they can do surgery on it. I have no idea. I don't think so. So I took his word for it. And during the same time, I had an issue where I had a growth right here on my forehead. I don't know if you could see that. There's a scar there now. And so I went to my regular doctor to have this checked out because I didn't know what it was, you know. It just kept getting bigger and bigger, and it was getting ugly, you know. So went to my doctor. He took a sample, and you know, long story short, that turned out to be skin cancer. But while I was there, he asked, "Is there anything other issues that you're having that we can help you with?" I said, "Yeah, you know, I think I broke my big toe, but I don't know, you know, that's what the workman's comp doctor said. Could you take a look at it, doc?" And this was a new doctor to me because my previous doctor had retired. And, you know, so painfully pulled my sock up, my boot off and my shoe off. And he goes, "Oh, you have a classic form of gout." And I'm like, "What the heck is that?" I mean, I'd kind of heard of gout, you know, growing up and stuff, but I never knew anybody that had gout, didn't know anything about it. So I started doing some research, and he indeed also said there's nothing you can do with the big toe. All right, whatever. So if you could see here too, I've also had 3 knee surgeries. I've had reconstructive surgeries. There's a scar there. Basically, my kneecaps are flat on the bottom. I know this is kind of off topic, but sort of on topic. They took these ligaments here, cut them in half, and tied that in so my kneecaps wouldn't go out of place. I had this one done in, this surgery done in 1978. This was 1979. So that could be a possible cause of my gout too, is just, you know, compromised joints. So anyways, in 2017, I had an occurrence where my knee just swelled up like a balloon. And, you know, having the knee surgeries, I had already had experience with an orthopedic surgeon in my hometown there. And I went to the clinic there, the orthopedic surgeon, to see, you know, what happened. You know, what do I need to do about my knee? Do I need an additional surgery? And anyways, got in there and said, you don't have an injury, but we think you might have gout. So what they did is they took a fluid sample and, you know, sent it off to the lab. And in the meantime, during that same visit, they gave me a cortisone shot, which, boom, it worked right away.
It was cortisone.
I mean, right away. So that was great. And then it came back, the results from the test came back, you know, a few days later, a week, yep, you've got gout. So, okay. And I went back for a second visit. They said, you know, you might want to go on some gout preventative maintenance or gout preventative drugs. And I don't like taking drugs, but so I said, no, you know, I'll just take it easy with my diet and stuff. But keep going on. I had another occurrence, I think that same year, 2018, in my left knee. And then in 2020, right at the very beginning of COVID, in February of 2020, I had a gout attack in my left ankle, which was absolutely miserable, absolutely crippling, horrible. And I finally, after probably a week or two of hobbling around and taking 20 to 40 ibuprofen a day, which was bad enough, was able to get in to see a specialist, a foot and ankle specialist, and get a cortisone shot. Because I went to my regular doctor. He says, nope, we won't do ankles because it's too complex of a joint and you need a specialist. So went to the specialist, and he was concerned about giving me a cortisone shot because cortisone can break down cartilage in your joints, which can be bad. But I argued with him and said, hey, you know, how about if I just keep taking 20 to 40 ibuprofen a day? He's like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, I know, doc, I can't do that. That's why I'm here for the cortisone shot. So with that cortisone shot, as potentially dangerous as that may be to my cartilage and my joints, I went in on crutches to the doctor's office. I walked out carrying my crutches. So the cortisone worked right away. And then let me think here. My next occurrence with gout, I started having increased attacks And in May of 2024, I had another attack. I'd had like, probably 2024, I probably had like 6 or 7 gout attacks within a 6-month period, which was excessive. So I went to my doctor again, had it in my right knee again, and I'll show you pictures of that. Had the knee drained and the fluid tested again. Yes, it was gout, and had a cortisone shot. It was effective almost immediately, very, very quickly. And I also went on a gout preventative drug called allopurinol. So I'm on that, and they said I should be able to go back to a normal diet. But even then, I did find out that my gout trigger, is mostly sugary drinks like Coke, Pepsi, Monster Java, which I love. You know, all those things, sugar, and also red meat. I avoided red meat. I avoided lobster and shrimp and all that stuff. So I was on the drugs, and for 2 years I haven't had a gout attack, but now all of a sudden I have a gout attack. And I will get to my frustration with the doctor in a second. So last Friday, my wife and I went to a hibachi bar, and I had a steak, I had a lobster, and I had shrimp, and I had a sugary drink, and bam, there you go. So what happened today was I was expecting to be able to have this taken care of immediately, because I know in my own body, I know how quickly cortisone acts, and so I went to the doctor fully expecting to get a cortisone shot, my knee drained and a cortisone shot. Didn't happen. The doctor said, nope, can't do it. It's too dangerous. You might have an infection in your knee, and that could turn out to be worse for you than whatever. And I'm like, I don't have an infection in my knee. I know what gout is. I know, what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I've had, 3 times here, 3 times here, my ankle once, my right toe 3 times, and my left big toe twice. So I know, experience will tell you this is gout. He refused. So instead, he gave me this medication. He wanted to give me prednisone. I said, I've had prednisone before. It's absolutely worthless. Won't touch me. He gave me this cold chin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Let me see if that'll show up. I don't know. Cold chin. Anyway, he said, this is very fast acting. Take 2 pills right away when you get home, and take 1 hour later, and you should see almost immediate results. Within a couple hours, your swelling and redness and be gone. Nope. Here I am. I'm 5 hours into it. Nope. It's still big and swollen, and I don't know what to do. I really don't. So now I got to go back in tomorrow and argue with him, because part of my argument too with him today was that he was saying that either I could have an infection and it could kill me, whatever, or it would degrade the cartilage in my knees. I said, Doc, I've had 3 knee surgeries. I've already been told by a couple doctors that I'm a candidate for knee replacement. If you're a candidate for knee replacement, they're going to cut that shit out anyways. So I'm not really concerned about having my cartilage compromised. I need to get back to work. I've missed 2 days of work already. I want to continue being active. And there's a give and take here. You've got to make compromises. And my compromise is not necessarily my health, but possibly my joint health over time. But like I said, I'm a great candidate for knee replacement. They already suck. So I need it taken care of. And this is also a quality of health and a quality of life issue, because the longer this goes on, what this gout is, I didn't explain this before, and I should have. This gout, the uric acid is not digested through your system properly, and it accumulates in your bloodstream, and it just gets in one big dump, and it dumps these crystals into your joints, your lower extremities. And these crystals are crystals. They're like microscopic shards of glass in your joint. So in my mind, whether I have a cortisone shot or not, my joint is being damaged right now. And that's kind of where I get frustrated with the medical community. I've had misdiagnosis already once with my big toe. I've had other misdiagnoses with, I'll explain in another video, carpal tunnel, had multiple of those. And now my knee, you know, I know what cortisone does to me. I know that cortisone will get me back on my feet. I can get back to work. I can, you know, I'm 62 years old, 61 going on 62. I don't expect my knees to last forever. So I'm frustrated. But anyways, that is my history with gout. And one thing I can recommend you do to prevent gout is you have to avoid those foods. You know, for me, I know for sure that sugary drinks, beef, lobster, shrimp, you know, the things that we really like and love, this is what happens when I have those foods. And that's just me. And I'm on medication, so I know now that the medication, even if I have one meal, it's not going to make a difference, because I was told that I could get back to a regular diet, and that's obviously not true. So it's frustrating because we all like eating. We like eating good food like steak and lobster and shrimp. I love that stuff, but I can't have it. You know, I like having a Coke on a hot day or a Pepsi on a hot day, but obviously I can't do that anymore either. So I do drink a lot of water. I drink a ton of water. I mean, at home, at work, that's probably 99% of what I drink is water. So, you know, it's so frustrating when it's just one occurrence, and it makes me wonder if it's not the junk they're putting in the foods, you know, like the hormones and whatnot they're feeding the cattle. You know, I guess the lobster and the shrimp, I don't know, whatever. They aren't feeding them any weird stuff. But who knows? I don't know. But anyways, that is my history with gout. And maybe that helps you, maybe it didn't, I don't know. I'm just trying to relate to you some of my experiences and some of the things that you can avoid in your diet. If you do have a gout attack, cut out sugar, avoid red meat, you know, don't eat, you know, crawdads or shrimp or lobster. You know, I remember when I was doing some research on what foods I could eat with gout, I remember commenting, because they eliminated pretty much everything. You can't eat any of this stuff. I remember commenting, so all I'm left with is the grass that my dog didn't pee or poop on. Is that what I'm getting from you? That's how I felt, you know. I like having straight, direct answers. So, you know, quick and to the point. Even these articles that I read, you got to read for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes before you get to, oh, this is the information you need. Like, get to that right away. Okay, so it's like 24 hours later, and basically what happened today, it's the day after I had this cold chen, however you pronounce it, I don't know, given to me after I took it. My doctor actually called me this morning and wanted an update. And I told him not only did the medication not work, I'm worse off than I was before. So he's like, okay, you better come in and we'll possibly administer the cortisone shot. I'm like, all right, I'll come in because I need this taken care of. I just do. So I go in, and he asked me some questions. We kind of go over more of my history, and he wanted to order some x-rays to make sure that there wasn't an infection in my knee, which I was 99.999% certain I didn't have an infection in my knee. I've had a long history with gout. I know, like I said, I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I just know, you know, I just know. I just do. So I had the x-rays done. He carefully looked at the x-rays. He wanted to make sure I didn't have an infection, and I didn't. And he had me sign a waiver because he said if he administers this cortisone shot, he wants to make sure that I understand the risks and possible complications with the cortisone shot. I'm like, okay, you know, fine. I also understand the risks and complications of having gout, you know, in my knee, such as, you know, I was going to look up research, you know, how many older folks like me slip in the shower and break their hip or something. Because, man, with this, getting in the shower, it ain't fun. It ain't fun. Driving's precarious, you know, trying to move my foot from the gas to the brake. Oh, boy, you know, I'm lifting my leg up to move it over. And I didn't have a ride, so that's dangerous. you know, you get complications like this, and I'm not trying to be irresponsible. I'm trying to get this taken care of in a quick manner. You know, just like if I have a migraine or a headache, you know, you take medication to get rid of it right away. And that's, to me, that's kind of what cortisone is. If I have gout and I know it's gout, I want it taken care of right away, immediately. So he did the cortisone shot, and I will show a video of that whole process at the end. And the one thing that he didn't do that the other doctors had done is he did not drain my knee. So I still have that fluid in here. I think it would have been a lot more quick acting if he would have drained the fluid out of my knee. Why he didn't, I don't know. And we also had a discussion about, you know, the cold chin, whatever you call it. That's his first go-to. And I was confused because the 3 previous times that I've had, four previous times that I've had a cortisone shot, that was their go-to. That was the first thing that they suggested and did. So, and I expressed to him, I said, you know, I'm confused, Doc. The other doctors, they didn't haggle about, you know, infections or anything or complications. Well, they did a little bit with joint damage from the cortisone, which doing some research, I found that the only way that cortisone can damage your joints is if you use it too much, like 3, 4, or 5 times a year. Once every 2 years ain't doing nothing. So there's that. Where was I? I forgot. So anyways, I'm hoping I'm on the road to recovery. The pain has reduced, the swelling has reduced a little bit. Because like I said, it did increase substantially overnight, which it wasn't supposed to. But now maybe I can be more confident on, you know, climbing stairs, getting in and out of the shower, driving. Those things are important. I have to climb stairs to get in and out of my house, and that can be kind of scary, you know, when you got a bum knee like this. It just can. It's either that or I just stay put upstairs and I don't move, which I get kind of, you know, antsy. I want to get out of the house and do stuff. So anyways, that's that. I will now show you the video of that process of going through the injection. If you're squeamish about, you know, blood and things and needles injected, you probably don't want to watch this. Just skip over it and you'll be just fine. So all right, thanks a lot for subscribing. Hit that like and subscribe button down below if you haven't already. If you like my content, let me know. And, you know, leave some comments about your concerns or your history with gout. I'd be interested to know, you know, what you found as your trigger, what you found as a good diet, maybe some supplements that you found that are effective. All right, thanks for everything. Hope you found this helpful and informative. We'll see you next time. Frostbite out. Ooh, look at that. That's a toad wagon. No assistant today?
Today. You mean a student or a nurse?
Oh, I've just, yeah.
Yeah, we do have a student here today, but she's working with a different.
And I think when Hannah did it last, there was a student here as well.
Yeah. I don't work enough hours anymore for students. They need a certain number of clinical hours in their rotation, and I don't do that anymore. So there's 2 medications in this. One is a steroid, the other is a numbing medicine or lidocaine. The lidocaine just primarily acts as a vehicle to get the steroid in there because the steroid doesn't have a very large quantity.
Is this actually a cortisone that you're injecting?
Yeah.
Okay. I think lidocaine, that's what they use to numb my
They'll sometimes use that
carpal
to numb
tunnel.
the surface but this is a little different.
Big old needle, not big, but
Yep. Here we
long.
go. 1, 2, 3. And you'll feel some pressure.
Sure. Easy peasy.
So I like putting this block under here like this. That opens up that joint line, which makes it
sure.
easier to, because you only have about much of a space
Yeah.
to fit that needle through.
I know they did my ankle. They sent me to a specialist because they said my doctor said the joint's too complex for them to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
and most of the time with an ankle or a smaller joint like that, you need to have ultrasound guidance to do it.
He did it just by eye and feel.
Like I did.
Yes.
Yeah.